The task of replacing the steering wheel, which was worn, has been successful. One thing that I'm going to do, and I will point out very, openly, is that I left my battery connected. There's an element of risk involved with that. Hey, we've been here before, right? Replacing the steering wheel. The main reason is because of this. At first I thought I had a bad clock spring, but I just aligned my car. And after doing my alignment, that was me under the car, playing with the tie rods. Until I got this to respond correctly, switch around, my backup lines were correct. So I don't think I need to replace my clock spring really. But I'm still going to replace the steering wheel. And usually what you have is this right here. This is a T30 security Torx, right? Hope the video shows what it is. T30 security Torx. And I have one of those L-shaped tools, but I went to the store and bought this one as well because I thought at first it was stripping it badly enough that this one here, I still could not remove it. So what I ended up doing was coming with this cutters. I forgot the proper name of these set of pliers. It's got a better name than just cutters. So I've cut around the housing, this bracket back here, right? You're not supposed to cut that. But so once you remove the plastic caps that go there, you see the bolts. As you can see, this one here, the other one came from the other side, and this one is removable. So I had to check, ensure that the replacement one came with it. Usually I think most people sell them, sell the steering wheels with these because they just don't bother removing them. But it's removable if I can find a way to do this. So push, you get 4 tabs. 1, 2, 3, 4. Even just doing the top will help you move. While pushing down. There you go. So you can replace this one back here. And here's your naked steering wheel, right? As I said, most people probably just don't bother removing that. And on the way in, all you have to do is push it in. There's some pins in there to locate. Push it in. And there you have it. So anyway, I cut around and I did my best to come with my vice grips. Because I tried a different a whole array of tools and I still couldn't get it out. There you go. And as a matter of policy, I've always told myself, whenever I remove one of these, let's try that again. Whenever I remove one of these, as you can see in here, can you see in here? Right, I always replace with regular hex bolts. They're not proper security Torx, but I don't know if people still steal airbags. If they do, well, good luck. Come get mine. But it's just because you're likely to strip them again, So make sure it's the proper length and all that. And as you can see, a 10mm is going to make that work just fine. So what I haven't mentioned, which you should see pretty obviously, pretty clearly, is that I usually do these things with my airbag, with my battery still hooked. I've said it before, I do it because I think I understand how airbag systems work, but, maybe one day I'll screw myself over. But, so now, after removing bolts from both sides, I can move this. Move the airbag. Again, it's still energized, right? So remove it, just pull it up. Well, it honked. Did you know what the horn is? That's a horn. This one right here, this bracket. I'm gonna have to put the phone down to remove those harnesses there. So I've removed the first harness, this one here, right? See this one here? It went all the way there. So I removed that. And I was trying to say this right here is the horn. Very sensitive. And there you go. It's dead now, right? Then here are the red and the orange and yellow plugs. And I've demonstrated in a video in the past how you remove these. I already broke one rule. You're not supposed to have this airbag facing down in storage at all. But there you go. Disconnected it. I'm gonna set it right there. Again, it comes from an understanding of how airbags work. Oh, look at that. It's misaligned. No wonder. I just could not get the steering wheel to be aligned at all. Look at that. As you can see, this one here is not aligned to the center. Well, that's easy. So at this point, after removing that, this one here, this right here is your clock spring, by the way, with the steering angle sensor in the back. And I'll show you the replacement that I was going to put there. Here it is. This is what it looks like. Some people sell them as a whole assembly. Some people remove the switches. Very easy. Just pull, push some tabs here and pull the switch out like this. The two tabs I'm talking about. So push, then wiggle this thing out, and there you go. There's your switch. So some people sell this unit without the switches. Some people, these switches don't go bad often, so I suppose some sellers see no point in hassling, with all that hassle. So this is what you see over there, right? And you hope it's not broken. And on the back side, this one right here, this is a steering angle sensor. Don't drop it, don't disassemble it. Don't drop it, don't disassemble it. This is what tells your steering wheel where it is with relation to where it's supposed to be. And that controls your ABS system, your VDC system, traction control, slip, your AFS, your automatic focusing, autofocus lighting system. What's AFS? Basically, I don't know what the alphabet soup for that is, but your system that controls the headlights, torque input. So having your car aligned is very important, and something hopefully we'll talk about later. Yeah, so having your car aligned is very important, making sure alignment is correct and your steering angle is correct. So right now, as you can see, it's supposed to be closer to, it's not exactly 12 o'clock, but it's way better than what the steering wheel actually indicates. And again, let's look at them. Here's where the steering column is as relates to the wheel. And this one right here, this mark, is what the steering wheel itself is at. So without further ado, let's get a big bolt breaker. Take this off. It's a 19 millimeter. Sorry if it's shaky. I'll try my best not to have it real shaky. So it's locked at the bottom. And what I'm going to do is just go. Didn't really take much effort. I get this feeling that someone's replaced this before. I'm sorry about the video quality. It's either some light or crappy light. So here, some people just go old school and just yank at it, pull and pull and pull. But these steering wheels already get a little jiggly in a diagonal pattern, in a diagonal manner like that. So I'd rather not keep pulling and just yanking at it. I've actually used different methods myself, but today I'm gonna get a proper tool. So this right here is a kit that you loan from AutoZone, steering wheel puller. OEM is the brand name, 27017 is the part number when you go to AutoZone. And the way it works is that you pretty much buy this thing, then within 90 days return it, and you get your money back. So first I have to make sure that the bolts that they provided will go into these holes. This one and this one, that's what you're going to use. So make sure that these go in those holes. Yep, well enough. And then this one right here. So the way it works is that this one here, the bolt goes against this steering column bolt, and then this one here goes across the two bolts you'll have here. It's a little hard to explain. So what happens is now you just need to turn this all the way before I pull it. Do you see the other mating mark down there? If you go in there, so before you put the bolt, before you put the nut, because once you put the nut, it might be a little hard to actually align them. So check this out. So this one here is your steering column. Then this is part of the steering wheel. So is this one here. All right, so things that help you get it aligned. Anyway, as we were. So now you're going to tighten this one, and as it pulls the threads up, it will push against that while pulling the steering wheel up. This is what you missed so far. I put the nut back on so that if this slipped, it would not damage it. Then I'm looking for this right here. I'm putting this one back on in an attempt to, it's not gonna sit. It's too large compared to the nut, but I'm gonna try to use it so that it doesn't slip around. Hope the camera is self-sufficient in this case. Hold yourself, man. Put it in there. There you go. Hopefully it doesn't go anywhere this time. Whoa, I took a bit of effort. So that pop that just happened, that's the steering wheel breaking loose of the steering column. So I'm gonna put these things back together, back where they came from. Hope I went the right direction. Yep, there you go. So we're done with this tool. It's done its job. Thank you for your service. Close that. Come back here. I'm going to remove that 19mm nut again. Take all that off. At this point, you know, you can see it's much easier to pull up. It's a little more wiggly. Just pull it straight up. Works better with two hands, but this is the situation we're in today, right? This hook on the plastic tab at the bottom. Fish this out. Do your best to not turn that thing around too much. Alright, so that's out. And maybe I'll take it to get rewrapped or something. I'm not sure. So here you go. There's your clock spring and steering column. See the bearings in there. to fish the replacements, place the replacement steering on there. Fish the 2 airbag plugs through. So what I've been trying to do while doing all that is making sure that these 2 are aligned. Remember, try to point out what they are, making sure that these marks are aligned. From there, they might look a little off. From there, they might look very off. But so that's what I'm trying to do. Make sure those are aligned while pushing the steering wheel down. There you go. I think I got it. That is, I'm looking at it from this angle. Then from this angle, the no parallax method, as they called it in physics. It's looking a little crooked, so I'll put the phone down just so I can try to aim this properly. What it's settled on is that there's no way to have this mark on the steering column to match exactly with this other mark. It's either on or off, it's either before it or after it. So since I had an issue with the steering wheel being cocked a little to the right, what I'm going to do is install that and have it face the other way, right? I'm telling myself that's a sound move. So here we go. I think I'm in good shape now. I'm just gonna make sure I did not cause too much damage and install my nut back on. And just for the sake of getting work moving, I'm going to say installation is the reverse of removal right here. Maybe I'm going to record when I'm putting the airbag back on, but for now, this is it. Just putting the nut back on, then I'll set the airbag on. So now, you guys are witnessing a moment of truth. What's going to happen is this. To protect my digits, I'm going to hold this away from me. And they kind of go on upside down, if that makes sense. These go on upside down, right? You can't just push them on. You have to turn them upside down. So you pull the plastic out, push the clip in, then push the plastic clip in. There you go. Then at this point, go ahead and plug this harness for your horn. And as I said, this is the bracket that makes the horn work. You see the springiness? That's how you complete a circuit, and that's how the horn works. So come back here, plug this in without messing with the horn. So I'm going to hold it here or here. Up top here, there you go. Because it's a U-shaped thing, so up top it's not causing any problems. Man, it's kind of difficult to handle it. There you go. Make sure the horn works like this. I think my battery's dead. Which is good, right? Install that. And at this point, I'm going to get my 2 bolts. So I've got 2 10mm hexes. As I mentioned earlier, I'm a fan of making life easy. So here it goes. Same thing on the other side. Can we actually see? So it just hit me that I need to maybe give a close-up while I demonstrate what's going on. So here in this hole, you can picture that. So this is the airbag. I'm pulling it up. Pulling the airbag up. You see that? So the airbag has the female part of the threads that the bolt threads into. So in this case, I'm using my 10mm hex and sending it in there. It's not very tight right now, but now when you try to pull this, it doesn't pull out, but still pushes. As you can see, the horn works, right? Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and tighten these. You know, as I mentioned in the beginning, the whole purpose of using hex nuts is so that I don't have another adventure like the one I had in the beginning, where my Torx, you know, bolt stripped, right? I don't want a situation like this again. This was pretty ugly. Don't want to have to deal with that anymore. So usually, every time I have to replace any, any driver, steering wheel, airbag, I usually just go to hex. So that's connected. And what we're gonna do now, don't know what, oh, here you go. Here they are. I'm going to go back and install these. Do the same thing on the other side. There you have it. At this point, the job is over, the project is over, but what I'm gonna do is start the car, make sure no surprises happen, no lights that shouldn't be on and all that. Looks normal to me, right? I'd say the process has been a success, and I'm going to run the engine. So first, open the garage door. Okay. Start the car. Awesome. Job well done. Let's look at the backup camera. Can barely see anything from there. Focus is real crappy. There you go. That's a little better. With the steering wheel rather straight, like here. There you go. This crack is going in the middle. See, the lines is still kind of a little off. But here, it's barely cocked to the right, just a little bit. At least it's not as crazy as it looked the first time. It was driving me nuts. And you don't want to go too crazy, because then you'll have to reset your steering angle sensor. You'll be confusing it as to what your true 12 o'clock neutral position is. So with that, I'd say the project is a success. Okay. The task of replacing the steering wheel, which was worn, has been successful. One thing that I'm going to do, and I will point out very, openly, is that I left my battery connected because I was either lazy or too smart to want to reset my stations and my windows. There's an element of risk involved with that. But then I think what's key in being able to live life on the edge, you have to know how things work to be able to tempt fate. You have to know what the rules are to be able to break the rules, So again, the battery thing might be a little controversial, but I always do my airbag stuff with it. Well, depending on what it is, right? Depending on what it is. But in a controlled environment, I was not too concerned about it. All right, well, good luck. That's all I did. And I hope you have a successful project as well. Better than mine, right?